Hi, it is now 2014, Happy New Year to all of you, and that means it's time to look at last year's resolutions and make some new ones. Okay, so these were my 10 resolutions for 2013. Number 1, read 50 books. If you follow me on GoodReads, you already know how I did in the 50 book challenge, but I reached 40 books this year, and I read 10 of those in December. Number 2, watch 100 movies. I watched about 120 this year. I also wanted to watch more classics. I watched a couple, but not quite as many as I wanted to. Number 3, I bought a digital drawing tablet last year and I wanted to get better at using it and also better at using Photoshop, and when I got a job in August I was kind of forced to get better at it by just experimenting. I feel like I've been using it quite a lot. I've definitely been using Photoshop more. I made my very own thumbnail for the Project for Awesome this year for the first time, because usually I would send it to a friend and she would do it for me. So I'd say that that one's definitely a success. Number 4, I wanted to learn Morse code. I did get started on this but didn't quite finish it. Number 5, I wanted to knit a pair of socks. I kind of went on a knitting hiatus this year. I don't think I did any knitting at all. Number 6, go on a sketching trip to a museum every month. Now I only went twice, but both of those trips were really good. First of all, I went to the Hunterian Museum with Maddie, who is just the best at drawing. She has an amazing Tumblr that I will link in the description. For those of you who are not familiar with the Hunterian Museum, it basically just has lots of dead animals in jars. So this is one of the things I drew. And Maddie brought this cool colored paper, so we drew on that as well. Then I also went to Tate Britain with Chelsea, who was also great at drawing. I don't know why I keep going to these places with people who are just way better at it than I am. I didn't do that much there, just some patterns. I just mostly wanted to go there for the Pre-Raphaelite exhibit. Number 7, I wanted to get more comfortable with cycling in London because I had my bicycle here and I was just a little bit too terrified. My bicycle's now back in the Netherlands because I moved to a different place and I can't really have my bike in the garden here. I did, however, go cycling on Christmas Day. I rented one of those Barclays bikes. We cycled all the way from my house to Oxford Street and it was really fun. Mostly because there were no buses on Christmas Day. Number 8, to practice my translation skills, I wanted to translate 2 books, one from Dutch into English, one from English into Dutch. I didn't do any of that. Number 9, I wanted to work on my French. I didn't do a lot of that either. And finally, number 10, I wanted to go to every tube stop in Zone 1 that I hadn't been to yet. And I'm very proud to announce that I did accomplish this on December 30th, and there will be a video coming up in the future where you can see me doing this. Okay, let's move on to the resolutions for 2014. Number 1, I've signed up for the 50 book challenge again on GoodReads. I just want to try and read 50 books because 40 seems to be my standard level of reading, so if I can read 10 more books in a year, that'd be great. Number 2, like what I talked about last year, I've made this whole list of every book that was ever assigned to me in university to read, and I want to read 1 book from that list every month and then make a video about it. Number 3, this is a repeat one from last year, I want to do 1 sketching trip to a museum every month. Number 4 is also a repeat one. I still want to do the translation thing where I translate 2 books. Number 5 is kind of a repetition of last year, but it's a more concrete goal, and it is to complete the entire French section of Duolingo. If you haven't heard of Duolingo before, it is an amazing app. This little owl here, woo, and it is a really good language app. So this is what I've done for French so far, and this is where I am now, and I just want to complete this entire thing. If you like learning languages, I can highly recommend this app. They recently changed it a lot, and it looks really cool now. You can do a lesson here.
Il cuisine un poulet.
And it talks to you, and you can talk to it, but you can also turn that off if you want. It doesn't actually say like memorize all these words, but by going through all the exercises you kind of teach yourself how it works. Number 6 is to get out of London. I mean, I still want to live in London, but I want to do more day trips to places outside of London because I've only been on 1 or 2 and I definitely have not explored the rest of the country enough. Number 7, read 10 Shakespeare plays and see 1 Shakespeare play at the Globe Theatre. Now I'm going to let Rosianna, who is our resident Shakespeare expert, pick the 10 plays that I'm going to read, and we will make a video about that as well. Number 8 is play piano at least once a month. To play piano here, I have to basically rent a room somewhere, which I've never done before. I used to play piano so often at home, and here I've just completely stopped, which I think is such a waste, so I'm going to try and do it once a month. 9 is a combo one. It is, again, try and learn Morse code, and I'm also adding the radio alphabet. And finally, number 10, I want to finish creating all my travel guides. I've been working on travel guides for London, Amsterdam, Amsterdam. I've done a The Fault in Our Stars tour of Amsterdam. I have all this footage and all these lists and pictures on my computer, and I just haven't used them yet. And this year I just want to finish all of them. So those are my resolutions for 2014. In the comments you can let me know if you have some of the same resolutions or if there's something else that you're working on. And I will leave all the things I talked about, including lists of all the books I read and all the movies I saw this year, in the description. And I'll talk to you guys later. Doei!